Well, it's time to make a video. Today is July the 30th. It's a Saturday. It's 8:29 at night, Eastern Standard Time. I'm living in West Michigan by Lake Michigan. So I'm not on the West Coast, I'm not on the East Coast. I'm here in the Midwest, sitting here in our dining room. Going to make a video. So today I ended my diary. Tomorrow's the last day of July 2016. I ended on page 643 in my 2016 diary. So tomorrow is July the 31st, 2016. I'll be on page 647. I already have my August 2016 diary ready to go. So tomorrow night I'll put this down in the basement in a big huge tub with all the other diaries of this year. And there they'll sit until the day that I die. Or maybe the Lord will come back and we'll be raptured out of this earth and the world will go through the Great Tribulation. So first of all, what have I been reading since I last made a video? According to my diary today, what I read today. Oh yeah, today is a Saturday, so on Saturdays I volunteer at the local library used bookstore. And today, for my free book, I got this book. It's called Occidentalism, The West in the Eyes of Its Enemies by Ian Burma and Avishai Margelt. So I read that. I noticed that when I was opening it says here, 25 years after Edward Stead's Orientalism, a whole field of study has developed to analyze and interpret the designating fantasies of the exotic East that sustain the colonial mind. But what about the fantasies of the West in the eyes of our self-proclaimed enemies? Those remain largely unexamined as Ian Burma and Avishai Margelt argue, woefully misunderstood. So it mentions here Edward Stead, and I want to recommend his writings. My oldest son, he did his minor in Islamic Studies at Michigan State, and these he left when he left the house. This is Edward Stead's Orientalism, which is very famous. This is my son's, it's all underlined. And then he also left this book by Edward Stead, Covering Islam, How the Media and the Experts Determine How We See the Rest of the World. So yeah, and since I had these, every time I see an Edward Stead book, I buy them. This is his book, Representations of the Intellectual. These are lectures that he gave at someplace. Anyway, and then I found this book, Analyzing His Thought by Bill Ashcroft and Pam Eswazala, Edward Stead. And then I found this book by Edward W. Stead, Culture and Imperialism. These are essays written by him, like he has here, Camus and the French Imperial Experience. He has Jane Austen and the Empire. and just a bunch of, I found that one. My oldest son many years ago gave me for Christmas this book by Power, Politics, and Culture, Interviews with Edward W. Stead. So if you want to, he's a, I don't know if you would call him an Islamic scholar, intellectual. I don't know how you would describe. Let me see here. Edward W. Stead is University Professor of English and Comparative Literature at Columbia University. He is the author of 20 books, including Orientalism, covering Islam, Peace and Its Discontents, The Politics of Dispossession, Culture and Imperialism, Representations of the Intellectual, The Question of Palestine, Out of Place, The End of the Peace Process. So anyway, let's just say he is a scholar that looks at the Middle East and Islamic world. So if you want a different perspective, look at those writings. So yeah, so I got this as my free book today. I read that at the Book Nook. I also read at the Book Nook I read this book that I've mentioned in previous videos, The Brothers of the Quill, Oliver Goldsmith and Grub Street, Norma Clark. I'm really enjoying this. I'm not. It's a good view of what it was like to be a writer in the 18th century in London on Grub Street, and about Oliver Goldsmith and the literary world of that time. I really enjoy reading this. So yeah, what else? Well, I had to cover at the Book Nook 3 times. Oh, maybe 3 or 4 times this week. Another free book I got for volunteering was Jerusalem, Jerusalem, How the Ancient City Ignited Our Modern World by James Carroll. I have like 5 or 6 books by James Carroll. He's very famous for his book, Constantine's Sword. So I got that as a free book. And I got this book in the mail this week. The World Beyond Your Head, How Becoming an Individual in the Age of Distraction by Matthew B. Crawford. I put in my Crooked Fingers online diary in Live Journal, I put in a video of him speaking about this book. If you want to, I'll put that where you can find that in the bottom of this video tonight. What else? I'm still reading Gregory the Great in the mornings, the Moral Reflections in the Book of Job, Volume 1, Preface in Books 1 through 5. I am now in Book 5, coming to the end of it. I got about that much pages left. I really enjoy reading this. I also got another used Bible. I collect Bibles. I found this one this week. Holy Bible, New Analytical Index. This is published in 1950. Kind of like it. It's not red letter. It's not written in. See, the family record's closed, and I kind of like Bibles. You know, I have them all over the house. And I've been reading Mickelson's Ghost by John Gardner. I've been reading that tonight. What else? This morning we went to the farmer's market, and then we went to a grocery store, and then we went to Goodwill, and I found this abridged Edgar Allan Poe. This is all his stories and some poetry and some other things. So I do have a biography of Edgar Allan Poe, Mournful and Never-Ending Remembrance by Kenneth Silverman. I have Silverman's biography, The Life and Times of Cotton Mather, which I read about 20 years ago. But I have this in my Edgar Allan Poe stack. Also, I found a book on New York at Goodwill this morning. This is called City Secrets, New York City. It's like a traveler's guide about all. It says here, novelists, artists, architects, curators, filmmakers, historians, and gourmets reveal their favorite discoveries in the ultimate insider's guide about New York. One of the last, I got this book a while back on New York at Salvation Army. This is New York in the 50s by Dan Wakefield. I collect books on New York City, Paris, Bombay, Rome, San Francisco. Also, I've been reading, once again, this book, Negotov in America, On the Road to Lolita by Robert Rupert. I'm rereading Lolita. So yeah. Also, I wanted to mention this is a good story collection, The Berlin Stories by Christopher Asherwood. I got those out to look at. So that's what I'm reading. That's what's going on in my book world. Oh, I did want to mention that I'm still reading The Wall Creeper by Neil Zink. I haven't given up on it. It's been not been impressed by it, especially when I compare The Wall Creeper with Nicholas Ghost. This is really a great novel, really good thick prose, very interesting, very worth reading. This I would not read. If you find it used for $1, buy it, but don't waste your money. So yeah, so that's what's going on here in my book world, and hoping you had a good week, and I'll see you next week in the month of August. Until next time, I can't think of anything else. So till next time, bye.